Hello everyone. We're shooting this video as a way to introduce myself and to what I do. We're here in the Rocky Mountains in the shadow of Pikes Peak, which is just over my shoulder. What I do is I make Native American style flutes. They're handmade, handcrafted, and in a moment we'll be going into my shop and I'll give you a demonstration of how I make my flutes. Thank you in advance for taking the time to watch this video. This is a sample of an aspen log that I took out of the forest, and this is where my aspen flutes start from. I don't think anybody else is doing this quite the way that I am. But once this log is collected in the forest, we bring it back into the shop and begin the process of reducing it to something that I can make a flute out of. And it ends up looking roughly like that. After it's finally cut down, it turns into a regular flute blank, like this, and I route the inside of it out to create the channels for the flute. Now this is an example of a cherrywood flute that I'm in the process of making. It's not aspen, but the process is the same. As you can see, the channel's been routed out here, and the airway is cut. After that's done, then I hand carve the sound mechanism. That includes beveling the inside of the flute to create the splitting edge, and hand carving the flue, which is between 30 and 40 thousandths of an inch in depth. Now the trick here is to get the cutting edge right in the middle of that 30 thousandths to 40 thousandths slot in the flute. After that's done, I then take the two halves and glue them together and allow them to set overnight. After they come back, after they dry and the glue cures, then the flute is assembled and ready for the layout of the sound holes, which would be in here. And it differs depending on the diameter of the bore and the key of the flute that I'm making. After that's done, I'll round off the flute into a barrel shape and attach these little rails. It's called a wind fence or a bird's nest. And what it does, it helps to align the bird so that the bird is not able to swivel around. And it also blocks the air when you're playing outside from robbing the flute of its tone, which it can do if it didn't have a way to block the air across the sound hole. That's one of the rather unique features of the flutes that I make. You don't see this. Some flute manufacturers employ this process, but many don't because it adds time and expense to the flute. Well, that's a general overview of the flute manufacturing process that I use when I'm crafting these flutes. I think it's rather unique, and I think that it produces a very, very nice sounding flute. This is one that I've got up on eBay right now, and they sound kind of like this. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video, and I hope you look for my flutes. This is Paul Venable from Lake George, Colorado.